I was going to say 2 years ago.
Yeah.
All right, Woj, you are, if my schedule is correct, and you know me, I always keep tabs on your schedule because when I walk into the building, people always say, where's Woj? You're going to the Big Ten tournament in Indianapolis.
Yeah, from what I understand, St. Elmo's, contrary to your slanderous statement, is open.
Good.
So I'm just actually going to get the shrimp cocktail there, and then I'm turning around and coming back.
What?
No, that's not true.
What are you expecting? I mean, at this point, honestly, you're going to cover a sporting event, which probably will happen, whereas most sporting events you go to definitely will happen. I mean, what are you expecting to find there? What are you expecting to see? What's it going to be like?
I really basically, but these things change so fast, but I figured, once it started yesterday with the MAC tournament, the Ivy League saying no fans, and I thought, okay, but then the ACC came out, and so far, obviously, the Big Ten is going forward with fans in the stands. And once that was sort of committed to, I figured they're not going to change it mid-tournament, right? Like, they're not going to allow fans today and Thursday, and then the CDC comes out and says, stop it, everybody, and fans go home Friday.
Right.
So from that regard, I think it'll be almost kind of normal, right? I don't detect. I could be wrong. You know me, I'm not afraid of anything. Not anything at all except vegetables. But I don't think the average fan is living in fear of going to these games, are they? We polled a few on the Little Bogey and Wojo show, and some people like, I'm taking my family to opening day for the Tigers, and I'm like, that's a ways off. I wouldn't worry yet, but I think people are going to show up and cheer like normal. What else would you do? I know this for a fact that the attendance will be down. I mean, going there, I've been checking because, I stay in a hotel there, and I always have to get the presidential suite.
Yeah.
Okay, that's not
sure.
true. Hotel prices in Indianapolis have been plummeting. Like 3 weeks ago, I don't know, a decent hotel near the stadium was like $310 a night, and it's down to like $170.
Mm-hmm.
And so some fans are definitely going to stay away. I don't think it'll affect the atmosphere. When you start worrying about the atmosphere, and this isn't to make Michigan State fans nervous, but they're probably going to be a 3 seed and open the NCAA tournament in Cleveland.
Right.
And Cleveland has already, banned fans for the MAC tournament. Okay, no big deal. Everybody plays in the same atmosphere, except seemingly the benefit for being in Cleveland would Michigan State could send a bunch of its fans, right?
Oh, for sure. I mean,
that would be the atmosphere.
Right. So if the NCAA says no fans, that would hurt Michigan State. But if there are fans, I expect Spartan fans to travel en masse.
Oh, I do too. I mean, you're going to have to, at some point, I know this is very difficult for people, and I understand why. At some point, you're going to have to trust some of the government agencies, maybe not all of them, but some of them, like the disease people. And if they don't issue a mandate of some sort, then you got to believe it's as safe as it can be at the time.
But it's so arbitrary, Woj. Where like the governor of Ohio is saying shut down stuff, but yet the Columbus Blue Jackets are going to have normal games.
It is kind of weird, and obviously some of it is where the outbreaks are taking place. Like California, looks like California is not going to have fans at an event for a long time. From the north to the south. So that part is arbitrary, and that part you don't. But and I've talked about this. Like everybody wants, like, what is the rule? What is the guideline? And like the answer is, they don't know yet. It's ever changing. Like
right.
What was it in the state of Michigan 2 days ago? We're one of 13 states that don't have one. What is it today? We have 2, and they're testing for a bunch more. Okay. That means that guideline might gradually change. And I don't know, some of it is silly, like you have to stay, 6 to 8 feet away from subjects you're interviewing in sports, whether coaches or players. I'm not sure what that gains. I'm still working, and it's very, very difficult, but I'm trying to limber up and get down the elbow tap.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
as opposed to the handshake. I get myself twisted in knots, and I don't know how to get out of it. But I've been working on it. I do it in front of a mirror. I do the elbow tap, and I don't mind that. I mean, I can get down with that.
But do you think, we were talking about this earlier this morning, the one thing that's impossible to ignore in the North American sports world to this point is that everything that's been canceled or limited has been lesser, right? I mean, the Ivy League tournament, with all due respect to our friends, the MAC tournament, not the big boys, not the pro sports, not the NCAA, not the Big Ten. Like, do you think it's going to be a case of a domino falling, or do you think it's going to be a case by case, almost league by league, city by city determination?
Well, I do think it has to be league by like leagues have to be make their own decisions, but it has to be a blanket thing by each league. But see, the difference is you're right, and now it would increase in scale if it's the NCAA tournament or whatever. But the problem is, like, people point to Italy and China, obviously, but Italy, where they closed the barn door after the horse was out, and now they're playing every event in Italy with no fans in the stands, and people are suggesting they did that too late. And because the only known way right now, besides washing our hands, to combat it is to reduce crowds, is to isolate. It's what social isolation. It's the only thing.
Social distancing, they're calling it.
That's it. Social distancing. That's the only thing that technically has worked. And that's why there are quite a few people I've seen in my brethren in the media calling for the NCAA tournament to be just completely canceled or no fans whatsoever. What are you idiots looking at? It's worked elsewhere. It's slowed it finally, allegedly, in Italy because in China, there's no public gatherings, and Seattle, no public gatherings. What? No group larger than 250. If that truly is the only way, social distancing, I don't know. It seems to me that is something that is going to be considered going forward.
Well,
here
it's better than what the Ivy League did, because canceling makes no sense to me.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, social distancing, the game still could go on, obviously. But, I mean, they're so concerned about social distancing. Like I said, 6 to 8 feet between a media person and a coach.
Right.
So, I don't know. God, I hope it doesn't come to games being canceled. But fans not being at the games, too, especially like in the NCAA tournament, it's as if the tournament is canceled, isn't it? If any sporting event in America is focused on is a fan-centered event, it's the NCAA tournament.
How could they do one shining moment with no fan shots?
Well, and during some tournament games, you have more shots of the crowd on TV than you do of the action,
right?
Because it's all about the crying and the screaming and whatever. So that would be horrible. But in the grand scheme of things, I can just hear people like in the science industry saying, these dopes are really concerned about whether fans will be able to cry in the stands while we're combating this disease. So I get that.
I like that. I like that voice.
Yeah, I that was good. That was
I know whose voice that was. What? Real quick, Woj, with the Big Ten tournament, we've seen Michigan State lose in the first round and go to the Final Four. We've seen Michigan lose in the first or second, whatever.
Right.
Beeline lost that first game and then went to the Final Four back in 2012. What, in your mind, how important is this week for both schools, Michigan and Michigan State?
Not important, I don't think. I think their seedings are more or less set. I do think, as always, though, it's fascinating. One of these two teams always makes a run in the Big Ten. It's not the Big Ten tournament. It's the State of Michigan tournament. Do you know 6 of the last 8 Big Ten tournament champions have been Michigan or Michigan State?
It's pretty impressive. Did you know that every Big Ten tournament, I think it's 23 of them, Michigan State is played on a Friday?
Yes, that's true. They get the double bye.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know impressive? Do you know in every Big Ten tournament, Northwestern's played the first game?
Literally the very, 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 very first game.
Yes,
right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. You might upset those Gophers. No, I doubt that. But no, obviously for all this other same reasons that you want to play well and you want to feel good. But a loss early in the Big Ten tournament, I don't feel like that derails people, you know. And last year, Michigan State, the going all the way did spark them to the Final Four, seemingly. So I wouldn't be too concerned. Jamie, You take it one game at a time.
Yeah.
It's one and done, and you just want to play well.
I think if you survive and then move on.
Advance.
Survive in advance.
Survive.
By
and,
the way, my pick.
survive and move on.
Yeah, that's it. I'm going off the board with my pick for just trying to find something that sort of makes sense.
Let me guess. Ohio State.
Yeah.
I was going to say Illinois, actually. Ohio State.
But there's really so many teams you could pick, but Ohio State was as high as number 2 in the country at one point. I feel like you could say that about almost every Big Ten team this year. They were number blank in the country at one point.
Yeah.
Should be very competitive.
Well, appreciate that. All right, we'll be following Woj. Will be at the Big Ten tournament in Indianapolis this weekend. Cover is on DebtNews.com or in the Detroit News, and maybe he'll call into Bogey's show as well. Thanks, Bob.
Woo-hoo!
Bye, Woj.
There he is, Wednesdays with Wojo on 97.